Hello, hello. Yeah, I guess it's working. How's everybody doing today?
Hello.
All 0 of you. Hope you're having a fantastic day.
Yeah, I guess it's working.
So I'm making this game. I need to mute this. I think I'm making this prototype for a deck builder. It's got kind of like Plants vs Zombie type of lane, tower defense, but you have to defeat a different commander. And there's various ways to do that, but the normal way is by having your characters get to the end of your lane to do damage to the commander. I'm using AI for it. I've got, I don't know, 35 years of programming experience, but yeah, I'm just sort of kicking the tires on the AI, and it's quite impressive. Like the speed that you can do something is pretty crazy. Jury's still out on how well it scales. In this game, you also each card has equipment, and those can do things like heal over time, or more complicated things like this gi, which allows you to once you're at half health, you change lanes. But this is just testing, so I'm not going to use it right now. So you have energy, which you get 1 mana per 2 seconds. But you can also have generator cards, like this one here. You can always look at your cards in your deck. This produces mana every 2 seconds, but it does damage to itself and clears itself. So a lot of times you'll have choices on whether to work on your economy or if you got to defend. So here's a tank. He's pretty strong, but he's expensive to play. And then this is a blob that splits once you kill him, so you gotta have extra characters to kind of defend against it. I don't know, I'm having a lot of fun with this game. I just like to build games I want to play, and I think I have generally speaking, a pretty niche interest. I'm interested in games that are doing something new. I like synergies and sort of exciting things, so I like procedural generation and synergies. So it's also fun to develop when you're excited by the thing that you're creating. Yeah, so I think today I'm going to add a couple new items, maybe add a boss. I don't know. I'm curious what people think about, watching people develop. I think with this workflow, it's a lot faster, and I think it would be fun to get different ideas, from people and implement them and try them out. And it's so quick that I think it'd be fun to interact with people here. So if you're interested, please subscribe and follow. I'm not sure if I'm going to do streaming or if I'm going to do like shorts or something, but maybe I'll do a little both and see what people are into. This is another thing I want to do. This tattered cape. It's hard to see when you get it. So when you kill somebody, your attack speed increases for a certain amount of time, but there's no like visual for it, and it seems to be kind of hard to do. I think I might add like a 10% run speed to it, so you can see, once you kill somebody, you can see the speed, and also like an effect. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. I'm going to test out Tattered Cape. Yeah, so you can choose, there's a legend here. It's kind of your normal sort of like deck builder, choices. Instead of going in a big tree, I kind of have, it's more linear for now. I think trees are pretty interesting, but I don't know. It is a little bit longer term planning. I think I want to try something a little different and hear what happens after every battle. There's some choices you have to choose from, and so it's like a little mini tree, and then you go into the next battle. Each one of these battles is set up in a pool, so you might get the same character to fight, as or different order and stuff. So I just have like pools for the first three, 1 through 3, 4 through 6, 7 through 9, and then a boss character. So I'm gonna try to create this and get some playtesting and see if people like it. I'm having fun with it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my item editor, and I'm going to go ahead and add the tattered cape to it. And then I'm going to go ahead and go ahead and build something here. Please add a red particle effect. That moves in the backwards direction. The character when tattered cape is active. Start the particle effects on the back half of the character to give a cape-like effect, and also update tattered cape to give 10% movement speed as well. Alright. I already have art for that. Now I'm going to do a little bit of planning to think about what I want to do. I've got a joust item I want to add, and partially it's because this character, there's a character called Cavalry who cannot attack in front, but attacks on the top row and then the bottom row next to him, which is interesting. He's also fast, so you can use him as a kind of like a scout to run and try to punch a hole in the enemy's defenses. But I think that's an interesting character, but it would be nice to have some items that allow him to attack in the front. So I think Joust would be interesting, where it would be an item that does more, does damage the first time it comes up to somebody in front, no matter what its attack pattern is. Only one time, so it's like a Joust, you run and poke them. But you could use that with the torch item if you have 2 slots for that card, and then it would burn. So another item I built yesterday was what was it called? It's called Gi, and what that does is when you lose, first time you're under 50% health, you'll change lanes, either down a row, or you'll change lanes up a row if there's nowhere to go. And that's interesting with the Cavalry because he can't attack in the front, but if he runs into somebody who's hitting him, then he sort of goes down and then moves forward, and then he can hit the guy from the side, so it makes him more slippery. And you could add that to other things like tanks, but you might not want that to happen. You might want that tank to block, right? So I think it's interesting, when you add a new equipment, you might be designing it for like kind of a certain character, but there's other sort of effects you might find later that's fun. Unexpected things, synergies, things like that. One example was because your mines that are generating mana hurt themselves and then disappear after they die and come back into your deck. But I found that if you put what's that called? There's a vine that you can put on yourself that'll heal you for 1 hit point a second, and if you put that on your mana generators, then they're on the board longer, so you get more mana for the cost, which is pretty cool. And it gives you a reason. If you merge cards together, then you get an extra slot, so you could merge 2 mines together, and if you had 2 healing vines, then potentially you could have it on there forever if it didn't get hit. So I've played around with like the mana system in the game for a while. The first time I wanted to have kind of like the old school Magic the Gathering or Plants vs. Zombies type of thing where you have cards that generate the mana. And then I ran into a problem of getting, I think they call it mana screwed in Magic the Gathering. So I ran into this problem where, you might not have any mana in your hand and the enemy does, and it just felt like it was like too much RNG. So I added this button where you click it and it costs 1 mana and it just refreshes your hand. It basically draws another, 4 or 5 cards. And then if you hit refresh again, it costs 2 and then 3 and then 4, and it just scales, infinitely. So I thought that was cool because I'm like, okay, I can get to my mana and put it down. But then it just felt like every time you were playing it, the plan was get all the mana down, try to defend if you need to when they're attacking you while you're putting your mana down. But then the mana just stays there. And it didn't feel, it felt like you weren't really making that many choices. So then I added a passive mana generation to both the enemy and player commanders, and that's when I started adding sort of damage to your mana generators in order to allow more sort of times when you're like, okay, I see I got to defend. Do I defend for the short term gain, or do I maybe drop a mana down and take a hit, or you're thinking short term or long term goals, and I think strategically it's much more interesting. And it slowed the game down. Before you started out with like 3 mana generators, and it got a little spammy where it just felt like you were just throwing out cards all the time, and I want there to be more sort of strategic thinking. Okay, so I added particle effects and added the speed. Let's see if it works. So because I added that tattered cape, I'm gonna try it on. I'll try it on my tank, and just for fun, I'll show you what the key does or how it works. All right, so I don't have mana. I'm gonna go ahead and. Magul might be a little overtuned. He's... What the... Okay. I think he might be a little tough. But so what I want to do is I want to try to destroy his mana generator. Well, that was unfortunate. I want to try to destroy his mana generator so I have an advantage. But it looks like, that was poorly timed. Alright, I'm going to try this and see what this looks like. Oh, well, it does have a little bit of a effect, and he does look like he's running faster. So that's nice. Now you can actually see it. Visualizing what's happening is so important. All right, so if this little red guy gets to the end, he'll do 1 damage to my health, but I don't want that to happen. And when you drop, you have usually an advantage to hit them first, so you end up winning. There's a bit of a sort of defender's advantage here. This is problematic because this blob here, when you destroy him, he splits into 2. So I think what I'm going to do is, instead of taking him out and taking the damage, I'm going to wait until I have my wall there. And then I'll wait until I use this guy here, and he'll flank. So this guy can't attack in the front. This cavalry can't attack in the front, but he can attack on the side, and it's really good for situations like this. So now I can hit him. And then I'll just put this guy in the back because I don't really want that wall there. The problem is, if you put let's say a ranger behind a wall, it's good for defense, but then this ranger's like, this card is stuck on the playfield for a long time, which this is a 5-lane level, so I'd prefer to have my units in my hand. Another thing that's interesting is when you play a card on the field, it goes into the field deck, which is this right here, and you don't get your card back until it is removed from the field in some way, either by doing a breakthrough where you get through the enemy line, or by the unit being destroyed. So anyway, I think that's kind of interesting. The thing is, I want to try something a little different. In a lot of games like Slay the Spire, for instance, you're always incentivized, almost always incentivized to have a smaller deck, and I want there to be more advantages to bigger decks than there are in a lot of these games where you're just trying to remove cards, for the whole time. I think I want to make adding cards fun. That's why I added a merge mechanic where you can merge 2 of the same cards together to get more equipment slots, and you level them up that way, which I think is pretty cool. I do want a wall, but I can't get to a wall fast enough to get rid of that that goo guy. I might actually take a hit for this, unless I can get to, yeah. I think I'm gonna just let him hit me, because right now he'll do 1 damage to me. If I kill him with this character, then he'll split into 2. And then he'll do 2 damage to me. So I'm just going to let him hit me, and then I'll just counter with this. The other thing about this Billy character is he's resilient. So every time at the end of every round, or every match, you heal 1 health. So I can take 1 health every turn. And that's something I kind of got from Slay the Spire. I like their passive for the starting character that gives new players a little bit more kind of breathing room by healing a little bit. So every character will have different passives, but I think that's a good sort of new passive. Alright, I'm going to try to go flank. Yeah, that's much better. I like the look of it. It gives them a little run speed. You can see an effect. So Purple Heart is kind of complicated. Basically, if you put it on a character and you have another card or a character of the same type, it'll double the move speed until it runs next to them if you drop them adjacently. I think I want to change how that works, but it's interesting, but it's not that useful. I'll get another card. Ooh, I can get another tank. And then if I find a forge, I can merge him into like a super tank. Or I get another rock. You can always have more cards is good, but merging them is good too. I'm going to take that. There's not a forge for a while though. Another card. Oh yeah, mana generator for sure. Those are great. Okay, well, I'm happy with that change. Later on it'd be nice to give it more polish. Like right now it's pretty, minimal, but fixed growth effect. Yeah. I do want to change the way a couple relics work, but I'll do that I think later. It's not that interesting. I'm going to build the joust item. So I know I want it to do damage based on your speed. I'm just not sure what that should be. So I'm gonna go look at like the speed of say a tank. His speed is 1.2. And who's a faster guy? The cavalry speed is 3. I don't think I want to like scale it like, you know, a straight multiplier. I think what I'll do is I'll make it do maybe like 5 damage plus like a straight 5 damage plus speed stat. Rounded down. Alright. Go in here and check it in. Add equipment. Added tattered cape effects and move speed. I was using that and it just didn't feel, you couldn't even tell when people had it on, and it was hard to know. It just didn't feel that good to use, and I think it was mostly because of the visuals weren't there. So adding that little run speed, you know, if you're used to the speed of your characters, you can see that he's moving forward, and the cape, you know, cape effect I think is functional. Okay, so now I'm going to add a new please add a new equipment called Joust. It does damage in front of the character regardless of character attack shape. It does damage in the front of character. I'm going to say the first time I get to a new character, or the first time you close the distance to an enemy, regardless of the attack shape of the character. Damage should be 5 plus speed stat rounded down. Alright. Downloads. I've got a little Joust image that I'll be using once it's in. So I'm using AI for the art too, but I'm telling it to draw everything like it's a child with a crayon. So I don't know. I think it's a cool aesthetic, and it's also, I think, less intimidating to people who, you know, don't like AI art. You know, they specifically are either afraid of it because they're worried it's going to take jobs, which, I mean, let's face it, AI is going to take everybody's jobs, it seems like. And you know, I think we gotta just figure out how to use it in a way that's ethical and useful and interesting. I mean, I thought the coding stuff was going to be less useful for a long time, but I was wrong about that. So I've been wrong about a lot about the speed of AI. Certainly, it's a bubble, but in the sense that they're subsidizing the cost of it. If it was the real cost, it would be, you know, thousands of dollars a month, I'm sure. But if it was that expensive, they wouldn't get as much adoption. So they want everybody to use it, because when you use it, you train it and make it better, I think. And after it's good, they're going to keep cranking up the price. They have to. They're losing money, right? Anyway, it's a weird time to be alive. One thing that's cool, though, you know, is as a designer, you know, I mean, I've been a programmer, you know, for a long time. But I think the design part is the most interesting to me, you know, thinking of new things to do with the genres and trying stuff out is just so much fun. And the faster you can get to idea to, you know, generating and testing it out, it's just very fun to use. Super fun. Step 1, let me look at the move arrival code path. On arrived at tile event, yeah. Now invoke the event after move completion and hole check. Joust on first approach field to equipment definition, register joust, create joust buff. There's got to be other people that are like interested in, you know, game design or the game making process that I think would find watching people create things in real time to be like a lot more interesting. I gotta believe that. I find it interesting. I mean, my mind has been blown. Summer is coming. I made a couple things I made recently. Is my son had his 6th birthday, and that's when I decided to kick the tires on AI recently. And I was like, I'm gonna my wife had the idea to make him a video game for his birthday, and I thought that's a good idea. So I thought about like what's a really quick game I could make for him in a couple days, and I thought I'll make a quiz game for him. So I decided to use AI to do it, and, you know, made it in like 3 days or so. And there's, you know, lots of art and music and sound I had to add, but... Okay, so the name, but it was pretty cool. And then I made one for my, after that, you know, I sort of branched that off, and then I made a more fancy quiz game for my cousin for her wedding. So there's something cool about being able to like build things that are personalized for people in a quick enough time frame that you can actually take the time to do it. So it's not showing me it's not telling me where to add it, but I'm sure it's just called Joust. Yeah. So I'm going to go to my art, which is Joust, go here to Unity. I'm going to go to equipment, drag my joust in. Oh, there it is. Single, apply. And this I need to fix this. My item editor is sometimes empty when I do this. Okay, there's Joust. Sometimes it's not, sometimes it is. I'll save it. Now I'm going to see if this works. It'd be cool to have like show the little Joust, you know, thing in front of the character when he's running. I think that would be cooler if it only worked once, and maybe that's what I should do instead of making it work more than once, and so I can make it fall off after I hit it. I don't know. Options. General toast. Put the just on this. This guy. So I'd expect it to do 8 damage. 5 plus his speed is 3, so 5 plus 3. So we'll start battle, and I'll refresh. Okay, let's see if the joust works. Let's go. 8 damage, yep. That'll make that guy, because that guy normally can't do damage in front of himself. How much damage does he do when he runs by? 8. Okay, same amount of damage. Interesting. Okay. I like it. It just gives more options. I mean, you could add it to anybody, but I wonder if it would work on the rock. I gotta try that. I mean, that's kind of funny. Because normally the rock doesn't attack. So I'd expect it to do 5 damage. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go. I don't know. I think it's funny. This is like adding a weapon to something that normally doesn't have a weapon. I think it's really fun to me to like sort of make something and then go, oh well, what will happen in this case, right? Okay, the rock's got the joust now, so I'll go ahead and defend with the rock and see if it hits him. And in theory, if you had, a joust and then a knockback, then you could keep hitting somebody over and over again. So there could be some interesting synergies. Let's see. No. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of like the idea of being able to add it to like stationary objects too. There's already thorns which you could add to a stationary object, which will do damage back to it, but that'd be fun to have, more things to do with your stationary objects. Come on. And you're... I mean, it's probably that they don't even have an attack. Like here it says, yeah, there's no attack stat on that. Yeah, this guy does 10 damage. I think my speed stat is, yeah, my speed stat looks like a sword. I think it's because I was thinking that was attack speed is move speed. I need to add an icon for that. Alright, again, just verifying this doesn't work. But that would be pretty cool, though. I mean, maybe I can... Yeah, I don't know. Do I want to be adding weapons to walls? I don't know. Maybe not. Okay. That's good for now. I haven't decided whether I want those things to be able to poke walls, to be able to poke things or not. So I'll keep that. Fixed growth effect. I've got. I should have written down more things to do. I think I want to create a flying character of some kind. The thing is, my animation system right now, it's basically just, squashing, stretching things around, which is great for, prototyping. And it's partially why I've got most of my characters are, like slimes or something, because I think it works better. Fixed growth effect. Okay, so I've got this one issue I think I'll fix, since I don't have anything else written down. I go to my deck editor and I take my character and I add, it's got growth, but there's another thing called, what is it called? Oh, resilient. It is growth. So I'll add growth. What it does is it adds a living vine equipment to all of your units, which it was more designed as like a relic for an enemy type, to give them a little bit more personality where everything's healing. The problem is, if I give it to a character, then it gives everybody vine, and then I can pull those into my inventory. And then I have like unlimited, vines. I kind of want it to only apply temporarily during the fight. So, and that's true also with the goblin not the goblin, where are they? Units. Yeah, the goblin. I think this crayon drawing, I think is like, and this one too, are like too high fidelity. I prefer like that. This is what I'm looking for. This kind of thing. Rad. So anyway, I'm gonna just try to fix this. Maybe I'll just take it out of the relic list that the player can get. That could fix it too, but I'll start with the goblin one, because that one's more, I think, easier to deal with. When I first started this game, I had a friend that was talking about making like a deck builder that's like Pac-Man, and his idea was to make it so you race through the Pac-Man level picking up your cards, and then you fight a battle afterwards from the cards you picked up. And I don't like the idea of temporary cards, really. There's a couple of games that have done it that I've played that I didn't think it worked very well. Not that it can't. It can, but I was trying to think about, well, what if you were playing something like Pac-Man, that you were dropping your little ghost or whatever, or little Pac-Man down. And I thought, oh, that could be cool, but then I was thinking, well, what if you don't have any cards down, what is the enemy doing? And then I was like, well, it's probably just attacking you, like a tower defense game. And I was like, I don't necessarily want to make a straight tower defense game. But maybe there's a way. Maybe the enemies and the characters are trying to get to little, power pellets or something like that. There's probably something you can do, but that's why this is called Card Maze to start, because that's how it started. And then it's just sort of evolved over time. Well, actually pretty quick, within like the first 2 prompts, but I don't know. It seems like a fun idea. This is one of a million ideas I've had for games. Is this one? All right, so I'm going to go to the deck editor. I'm going to remove growth. I'm going to add goblin. Save it and then run it. I'll show you the problem that I'm seeing that I'm going to fix. So it's always good to test your fix first. Make sure it's still broken before you fix it. You got to verify first before you try to fix it. So he's got a purple heart, and what this does is it gives you double speed if you put it adjacent to another unit of the same type. So basically, it's a catch-up mechanic. Next to the lane, I was going to make goblins more powerful when they're next to another guy, and so there'd be kind of like a value to throwing like 2 or 3 goblins out as a win condition. So I could move this here, and then if this guy's on the field, and you put this guy adjacent to him, then he'll catch up. It would probably make more sense with like this kind of character who can hit sideways. But so if I move the goblin comes with this equipment, purple heart. If I move it to somebody else and I start the battle, and then I win the level. Now the next time I fight, now see he's got the purple heart again. So I basically can generate millions of purple hearts, which is, I don't know, it's kind of an interesting idea. I like the idea of, you might pick up a goblin in order to like get the purple heart if you wanted it for a build. It's another way of like getting it, which I thought was interesting. So how to joust the equipment. I think I'll probably stream for like a couple hours, maybe. Probably get some breakfast. It's Friday. I hope that you are doing well wherever you are, and if that you and your family are blessed. I hope that your life is full of hope and joy and purpose. Yeah, the world is incredible. It's amazing being alive. It's amazing being able to create. It's awesome. Okay, so I'm going to go and say Goblin gives purple heart equipment, but if purple heart is moved to another unit, the next battle, a new purple heart will be added. Own this equipment to be added once. That goes for other well, I see that add equipment. Okay. I think I want to change how Purple Heart works, though. I think it might be better if it just says, if you put this behind another character, it'll speed up to catch up. I think that would be more useful. And interesting. There's not a lot of times you want to run up next to another character unless it's like a cavalry, and you don't have two cavalries in your deck much. So I'm going to change how it works, and then I'll probably change the goblins buff. Maybe goblin whenever goblin is next to another character, he gets like a holy shield or something applied to him. Something like that. Although a holy shield, like a bubble shield, doesn't seem very thematic for a goblin. I can give him a tattered cape. Might be good. Do you have any game designs that you wanted to make, you've thought about for a while, that you've never gotten started on, but you always wanted to? God is good. Fix. Track which card source tag pairs have already been seeded once per turn, once per run. Card equipment map for default equipment like goblins, purple art, and relics apply for all equipment. Both look at first entry slot to decide whether to fill. So when the player moves the seeded equipment elsewhere, the slot becomes empty. Next match, yep, he seeds it. Man, roguelikes have been such an amazing genre. Starting with Binding of Isaac and just expanding like crazy. I really like novelty and like interesting systems, and it's been awesome. It's been awesome to see it grow and to see what people make with it. Procedural generation and games of, I feel like roguelikes can have so much value. Like, I've played Slay the Spire a lot. That's probably maybe my favorite. Well, it's probably my favorite deck builder. But maybe my favorite roguelike too. Roguelite. It's kind of a bummer thing, the roguelite thing. It would have been nice if we came up with a better name for it. Like, I think in some ways, the permadeath adds a sense of urgency to it. But it also allows you to build things that are broken. If you have an RPG and you get super powerful, it's really fun for a minute, and then you stop playing because there's no challenge, and so that reset is cool. Okay, let's test it out and see if it fixes that. I think one way to design equipment is to think about, problems that certain characters might have, and kind of solve it a little bit. Not completely though. You want cards to have their own feel to them, you know. You don't want equipment to totally ruin all their weaknesses, I don't think. Okay, so I'll move this to here. Okay. Oh, you did not defend his stuff. Now this guy should go faster. Woo! He's using Purple Heart to boost off the other guy, so I guess that was a good use case for it. Whee! And bonk. Oh, they're toast. Alright. Now next time I go in, yeah, let's... Okay, I fixed it. I'll test Purple Heart to make sure that fixed it too. Hard Maze Editor. Add growth. Remove the goblin. I don't need it anymore. Save. Alright, I mean that's overpowered obviously, giving everybody heals in one relic, but I think this relic will probably be not, I don't know, probably be not player facing, it'll probably just be for the enemies. Yeah, okay, I'll just win the level, because I think I have to forge before I can, you know, I have to get something with 2 slots to see if I can get this working. Yeah. I don't think, well, I guess I fixed it because it murdered, I mean, I had too many items in my inventory. Yeah. This item editor is empty sometimes. I think it's annoying. Item editor. Reload from disk. Clear all. No equipment is registered with equipment database. Check the console call layers. Any script the project fails to compile, none of them will run, and this comes back empty. If I hit play, it's back. I think it's more like, look at okay, I guess it's fine. I would like to fix that. It's kind of annoying. I had to hit play to update it, but well. Alright, begin fight. Everything's got that. One level. We got a forge, so I'll go here. Forge my tanks together. Then I go begin fight. One level. Alright, so if I begin fight here, okay. Yeah, it's adding the Vinyl Life to the card when I first get it, so that when I merge them together, he has two of them. I think I'm just going to remove Vinyl Life. It's too strong anyway, I think, and weird. Probably good for an enemy or two, though. Maybe an elite fight. I'm going to go back to the map editor, go to the relic pools, remove growth, save. I guess I can get healthy or goaded are the two. More health or take 1 damage and start with an extra energy on the board. I guess those are good. I probably should make some more relics. That'd be a good idea, probably. I don't really like to take elite fights because I don't know, I feel like the relics are... There's not that many interesting relics, or they were overpowered like that one. Let's see. I got some art here. I got the dagger. When I build these, I'll go to like in order to, because I'm using like the free tier for everything, pretty much, almost everything, and I'll go to like Grok and have them build me some images, and so that I can produce more images, I'll tell them to build 4 images in each quadrant, and then I'll just like cut those out. And when I do that, I'll usually like build some extra images. I might have some that I haven't even used. I'm sure I do. Well, what's a good axe? I mean, it could be something that does increased damage to buildables, like walls and things like that, like things that don't move. That could be interesting. I'm thinking about like cutting down a tree or something. That could be potentially useful. Dagger would be like increased damage to backstabs, but there's only one character that does backstabs, and that's like a rogue. He spawns, farther forward, but then he runs backwards and then hits people in the back. And for the most part, he's expensive. I think he costs 5 to drop. But he can't really be dealt with that much. I mean, if you have a lot of health and you've got thorns, you can, or if you got the explode on death, you can damage him. or spells. Yeah, I built an image like this and then cut them all out. I don't know. I gotta kind of go think. Probably get some food. Think about some more equipment. Maybe make some more levels. So yeah, I'm gonna end it here. So there's nobody watching, and get some food and come back later. Hope you're having a great day. God bless you and your family.